Well, it's that time of year again. We're talking about new Beatles releases, and they went way back into the Capitol vault to bring us the original 1964 US albums, including one from 65. But these are in mono for the first time in years. These have been, I guess, remastered, but they're newly minted records, and they include a box set which collects all 6 of these albums, plus a bonus double LP called The Beatles Story. And in this video, we're going to talk about why you shouldn't buy that box set and instead buy the albums individually. But before we do all that, I just want to take a moment and ask you to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. It really does make a big difference. Thank you to those who already have. Now, before I get into why you shouldn't buy that box set, let's talk about what is included in this announcement. So we have 7 releases that more or less all came out in 1964, which is just insane to think about as a Beatles fan. How incredible that was. Like every couple of months you got new Beatles music. Just insane. But you know, what's really interesting about this release is that they're all in mono. This is an all analog signal path, and they're taking the Capitol mono masters. But you know, if you go on forums, you go to Reddit, you know, a lot of people are lamenting the fact that why couldn't we just get a reissue for the UK mono box set that came out about 10 years ago? And I would agree with that. I think that could really use a reissue because the prices on that have just gone through the roof. And unfortunately, I don't think we're going to see that again. I mean, that would have been a 10th anniversary. I think that would have fit just as fine. I think that would have satisfied more people. But that's not what we're getting. And I think there is a demand, maybe not as much as the UK mono releases, but I think there is definitely a demand amongst collectors, and not just older collectors. I think younger collectors are also interested in these. In fact, in 2019, when I went to London, I went to the Rough Trade record store in Notting Hill, and down below they have all their used records. And I was surprised to see that the US Beatles albums carried a premium over the UK counterparts. I was kind of like, wow, who knew? But I think from a historical standpoint, these are really important to tell the Beatles story, especially here in America. And while I think there was a large group of collectors that were disappointed by this announcement, and I'll be honest, I was a little disappointed as well. I think it's actually really important that these are coming out again because, you know, as I was preparing for this video, I was looking at my copies, some of which were in stereo, some are in true mono from the 60s. The 60s ones are kind of beat up, man. And so, you know, it really got me thinking, and I was looking online, and yeah, you can find mono editions of all these albums for relatively less money than $30 a piece that the Beatles are asking for these new reissues. The problem is trying to find them in near mint condition. True near mint condition, not just visually inspected, but play graded. You're gonna probably pay quite a bit of money. I think for a lot of collectors who didn't grow up in America, you know, these are kind of interesting. They're interesting from a historical standpoint. Yeah, they're not the official Beatles catalog, but as compilations, they're actually pretty good, I would say. And in some cases, they contain unique mixes that are different from the UK counterparts. So I think for all of those reasons, I would say definitely consider picking these up. Now, they run $30 each, which is reasonable for today's prices. It's definitely more than I want to pay. I would want to pay more like 20 bucks each, but we're not there. And I think it was a smart move to have the 6 main music releases separate so you can buy the ones you really want. And also included are some liner notes by Bruce Spicer, who is an incredible Beatles historian. I mean, he really knows his stuff. His books have been vital to my own research, especially my Beatles Butcher cover video. I could not have done that without his exhaustive research. I mean, it is insane. So I'm really thankful that he's getting some official love from the Beatles, and he had involvement with this reissue campaign. I think there's no better source on US Beatles albums than Bruce. So I think that's really cool that they include that. Now, all of that is well and good, except for the box set. Now that is the elephant in the room. That is why you probably clicked on this video. So let's get to it. The individual albums are $30 each. You know, that's $180 if you buy them all together. And the Beatles are charging you $300 for all those albums plus a box. and the exclusive double LP, A Beatles Story. So that's $120 extra. This is US, by the way. $120 extra for a box and this release right here. And I can 100% guarantee that it is not worth that extra money. The best I can say about it, it's a novelty, especially in 2024. You're not going to learn anything new from this. And at best, if you've never heard it, you'll probably never listen to it again within the next 10 to 15 years. I mean, it is a novelty. It is fun to listen to once. I enjoyed myself. But it's just, in this day and age, it's just not that interesting. Yes, back in the day, this wasn't invaluable when it came to Beatles information and how they formed. I mean, a lot of this information was really hard to come by. You couldn't just like search about it. I mean, there wasn't that much information. So this really compiled their history and where they came from, because I think from the outside, these guys just seem to blow up out of nowhere. But, you know, as we know now, they worked their butts off to get to where they are then. So this really was informative, and it was a great way to compile a lot of information in one place. It had interview clips, music clips, and it's all narrated with some rather stuffy, you know, 1960s Mad Men type people. I mean, it's funny. It's a novelty, like I said, but it's not essential. It's like when it's one of the last pieces you need in a Beatles collection. It's not something that you need right away. So the audacity to ask $120 extra for this and that box is insane to me. It just doesn't make sense. Like, I understand that, you know, the records, it's a double LP, which increases the cost. It's a gatefold, 180 gram vinyl, the mastering, all of that. I mean, that all adds up. You know, maybe $45 plus the box, so maybe $60 to $80 extra would be reasonable. But man, $120? I don't know. It makes me reconsider what I said about the Red and Blue album box set. Like that almost seems reasonable now, but to have all that for $120 extra with no book, nothing extra except for that, just doesn't seem worth it. I say don't pre-order it. It will probably come down in price. I'm sure they're going to overproduce these, and then they're going to discount them after the holiday season. So if you really want it, do that. Now, what I did was bought all 6 releases that are available separately. I bought them on soundofvinyl.com. I had a 20% off coupon, which was essentially, I got one free, which I'm thankful for. Plus there was free shipping, so it worked out. Still a lot of money, more than I expected to pay, especially with Weezer releasing their 30th anniversary edition of the Blue Album. But hey, sometimes you got to do it, you know what I mean? So that's what I bought. But if you are on a budget, here is my recommendation. Don't buy all 6. In fact, I would say buy 4 of them. Definitely Meet the Beatles. It's a classic album. It is the introduction of the Beatles to America. I think it's historically important. And in fact, there is a blue vinyl variant available at Target for $5 more. So if you're into that, go that route. And then the other 3 I'm going to recommend are the Beatles' second album, Something New, and Beatles 65. And the reason I'm saying these last 3 albums, beyond the song selection, which I think is very good, these last 3 albums actually have unique mixes. Some of the songs have unique mixes compared to the UK counterparts. So right there, I think is some incentive. Like if nothing else, just pick up these 3. You can skip on Meet the Beatles. The reason I say The Hard Day's Night, it's just an inferior soundtrack album. The George Martin instrumentals are interesting, but Something New was Capitol's answer to A Hard Day's Night. They couldn't legally release a soundtrack, so they created this instead, and it includes 5 songs that are featured in the film, plus it's on that same soundtrack. So really, you're getting some redundancy right there. I think the UK version is much better. And then the early Beatles, it's just not that strong of an album. You know, I feel like they just kind of put that one together to hold people over until the next release. So yeah, that's what I say there. Now, one point of contention, one thing that we don't know about these is that where they are pressed. Now, we get a little hint of this with that Target release. There's a really high quality photo of the hype sticker, and you can see that that particular pressing is pressed in France, which means MPO is doing them, which is a better pressing plant than GZ or GZ in the Czech Republic, which I think is a good sign. Unfortunately, the John Lennon Mind Games reissue was pressed there and horrible quality control. So MPO is a step above, but it's obviously not optimal. But yeah, so hopefully all of these are pressed in France, or maybe some of the US album, or maybe some in the US will actually be made here in the United States. We'll see. I say you don't need to pre-order these. I think there's going to be plenty available. Wait to see what other people have to say and go from there. And if anything, just wait till the holiday season's over and maybe these will be heavily discounted. We'll find out. But until then, I want to know what you have to say. Are you pre-ordering these? Which ones did you get? Are you getting the box set? Let me know why. Until then, I want to thank you all so much for watching, but I especially want to thank my members over on Patreon. I'm your Vinyl Geek, and I'll catch you on the flip side.